Hello everyone and welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live on YouTube tonight and this show is very much all about you guys. So get your questions in. There's a couple of things me and my guest, Alistair, we'll need to tick off the box before we get into things. But yes, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff, that would be tremendous. And we'll get through as many questions as we can over the next hour or so. So yes, I am Scott Carney. I am back, and joining me tonight is Alistair Pearson. Ali, how are you, mate?
Not too bad. It's weird having you back, Carney. I've been holding the fort for the past while there.
Yes,
the other guys have made appearances now and then, but I'd like to think I've held the fort down for us. So yes, it's good to have you back, Carney, so I can go back to assistant manager again. I was like Kenny McDowell for a wee bit there, but I did want to do it. I know he didn't want to be the manager of Rangers, but yes, I'm back into the coaching staff now.
Yeah, I'm back in the coaching staff, mate. Yeah, I am back. And yeah, look, again, I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but the support's been fantastic. I can't thank you all enough for the amount of incredible messages and stuff that I got. And obviously, massive thank you to Ali. And you all know I absolutely hate giving him any form of credit. It does my head in. I don't enjoy it even slightly, but the podcast would have suffered quite a bit without Alistair. So yes, Alistair, thank you, mate. I don't like it, mate. It feels unnatural when I'm nice to you. It feels unnatural when I'm kind of
even Ryan did 3 pods in the trot. I know he's not in this one tonight,
but that'll be him. That'll be him off till December now, probably something like that. Like I don't see him being back anytime soon. So yes, look, tonight's all about you guys. Get your questions in as much as you can. Obviously, there's a very pressing matter that was announced not too long ago. That we're not a pressing matter, an announcement of a signing that me and Alistair will start with. But it's really all up to you. It's all up to you. Get your questions in, and we'll get through as many as we can. Before I get there and get back to discussing Rangers things, you're going to have to bear with me a little minute because I've got a few things. Well, one pretty major thing that I do need to talk about. So, for you that know, we've been going since December 2020 now, so about 3.5 years, I think we've been going. And the support we have from you guys, from everybody, is incredible. Literally blows my mind every time I kind of think of where we got to. We kept passing the target of what I thought we could get to and where we could be and what we can be as a podcast. And really, as things started to grow, my dreams started to grow. Where I thought this podcast could go really started to grow, and where I think the ambition of this podcast could be. So again, this decision that we're making hasn't been made lightly. I want you to understand that fully, but we as a podcast believe that we have another level and even higher levels to reach and to go to. So without further ado, without me beating around the bush, I will announce, strap yourself in, as Ali would say, that Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, is launching on Patreon. This is where you will be able to find all your usual Club at 22 content, plus much more. It will officially be launching the first league game of the 24-25 season, which is the 3rd of August, and we'll be welcoming new voices and faces to the network, a lot more content to the network as well. Don't worry, Ryan isn't actually going anywhere. He will still be here. Your Rangers Dad will still be here. But by subscribing to our Patreon, you'll become part of the journey with us as we strive to bring the best content that we can and to take Club at 22 to new levels. That is the ambition now. We're very excited about this, very, very excited about this, and we can't wait for it to get started. So if you want, you can head to the link that's in the description for this podcast. We would absolutely love if you would. You can sign up and be ready for the new season with us. As I say, being part of the Patreon and Club at 22 not only shows unbelievable support to us and the loyalty to us that we don't take for granted, I promise you we don't, but it also guarantees that you're part of the journey as we take a bit of a leap to reach the next podcast. Nothing is without risk, but not if you don't take any risk, you don't get any reward out of it. I believe that this podcast can reach new heights. I believe the podcast can bring even more content on a more regular basis, but in order to do that, I'm going to need to fund it, and that's the long and short of it. We all work full-time jobs. I'm looking for a way for us to be able to take it to the next level. That's as plain and simple as I can put it, and I believe that we can do it. I genuinely believe that we can do it. It's not something that I have taken lightly. I've had many discussions with the guys about what to do and where to take the podcast next. I don't want us ever to just stagnate on YouTube. I always want to be pushing the podcast forward. And if anything over the past couple of years that I've learned is you've got to take risk, and you've got to take the risk now. There's no point in waiting until tomorrow because it might not be there. So we've decided to do it for the launch of the start of the new season. What that means for YouTube, the club live show, this show that you're currently watching, will always be free. It'll forever be free. We'll be on YouTube every night, somewhere 6:30, 7:30 if we need to change it about for availability reasons. But at 6:30, we will be on the podcast on YouTube live. This show will not go anywhere. The majority of our content will move to Patreon. Our club reaction pods, our club deck corner, as well as all the extra content that we've got planned and pre-recorded and everything like that we're going to be able to do. That's where the majority of our content is going to be. YouTube will still be there, it will still be active, but we're hoping by the amazing support that you've shown us so far that you join us by supporting us to move to Patreon and to really help us reach something spectacular. There'll be audio only pods, there'll be video only pods, there'll be special members. There's 2 tiers. For the higher tiers, there's going to be special content purely for them. There's going to be all sorts of different things. It's going to be something that we hopefully evolves into something really special, and we really hope that you can join us for that journey, because we're very excited to get started with it. I always was back and forth about whatever to do this, but as I said, what I've been through in the past couple of years, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to. So I believe that now, and the guys also believe that now's the time for us to make that step. I don't know where it will lead us to. I don't know what will happen, but we have to try and we have to do it. And we all believe that we can bring you even better content than we already do, and on a much more regular basis. We're very sporadic, and we have been due to absences and whatever else, but we feel that now is the time. Ali, this is a very exciting time for this podcast. And if you think about the time we started this, mate, in our COVID rooms, as you were stuck in one COVID room and I was stuck in the other, I would never have thought that we would have been in this position to be able to do something like this.
Yeah, no, we started it, to be honest, as a way of speaking to each other about Rangers, to be honest.
It's because I really missed you. That's what it was, mate. Oh, God, that's been nice to you.
So that's how it kind of started, and obviously 3.5 years later, which sounds mental, it feels like when they started it a couple of months ago, to be honest.
I know, 3.5, mate, 3.5 years.
But it's grown to levels I didn't think, Carney. It's weird when you meet people out in the streets and all that, mate. When I told you I was coming back from Edinburgh with my missus and Saturday there, and as I was coming off the train, absolutely pissed about 11 o'clock at night. Graham, who works at Queen Street Station, came up to me and said he watches the podcast, so shout to Graham. But it's we've got to levels like 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. I know in the grand schemes of YouTube that is minuscule, but for us it's a big thing for us. We've hit targets we didn't think we would hit. There's other Rangers podcasts out there, good ones as well. We all got on well with each other, all the Rangers podcasts. But I'm the same as you, Carney. I want to be ambitious, and if we can bring more content as well, we probably need to go to Patreon, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to it, and I know the other guys are too, and maybe we can bring some new faces on as well. So yes, onwards and upwards. And hopefully Rangers can do that as well.
Yes, that would be quite nice. Quite nice to have a successful season after the first launch of it. Yeah. Look, and as I say, I know the risk in it. I do completely understand that. I do get it. It's not going to please everybody, but in terms of the podcast and where I believe it can go, I feel like it's the next natural step for us. As I say, it isn't a decision that I've just made overnight. It's something that's been going on probably since, I don't know, maybe about a season and a half ago. We started to have kind of conversations about it over a pint in the pub. It's something that we believe that we can do. I believe it's something that I'm saying I believe that I'm going to push this as far as I can. You all know that I do the majority of the work behind the scenes with stuff, and we are hoping to expand the network. The sky's really the limit. I think we want to bring on new faces, we want to bring on fresh ideas, and we want to stay relevant and we want to stay fresh. I didn't ever want us to get to a point where we stagnate. Not that I believe that we have stagnated, but I do feel now is the time for us to take a step as a podcast. So if you could, the link is in the description of this podcast. You can sign up. There's going to be a free trial as well that you can take at the start of the season if you wish. I'm hoping to get content up before the launch of the season. There's nothing on it as of yet apart from a post from me, because I am in the process of getting myself. I'm only just back to work, so I'm getting myself back into the swing of things. Content is planned to be recorded over the next 2-3 weeks as we lead up to the season, and then there'll be some special stuff with me and Ali in Berlin, which that'll be a laugh for everybody to see with me and you going on our holidays again to Berlin, mate, which I'm very much looking forward to. But yeah, enough of my rambling on. There's no really way to move on. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Generally, really looking forward to it, and hopefully you can all join us on the journey. Ali, we'll start with the announcement of the signing of Hamza Egamani or Egaman.
Yeah.
I don't. Is it Mani?
We'll go with
It looks
Manny.
like Egamani to me. Anyway, the club have announced Rangers Football Club are today delighted to announce the signing of striker Hamza Eganami, subject to international clearance. The 21-year-old forward becomes Philip Clement's seventh addition of the summer transfer window, following Mohamed Diomande, Jeff Day, Oscar Cortez, Clinton Nisala, Connor Barron, and Liam Kelly. An exciting talent. Egamani has spent his career at AS Far in Monaco, coming through their youth system before impressing in the first team in recent years. He's also represented his country at under 23 level. He said, "I'm really proud to be joining Rangers and I can't wait to get started with my teammates. It's a huge club with a loyal fan base and a lot of history. I'm excited for my future here and looking forward to being part of this club." Probably one of the worst kept secrets in the world, this transfer, mate. It seemed like it's run on and on and on a bit due to different visa reasons, etc. On paper, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm an expert on him because I'm certainly not. But on paper, his stats look pretty decent. I know you've had a conversation about it in previous pods, but he is now officially a Rangers player. Your thoughts behind this signing, mate? Is he the striker we're looking for, or do you believe maybe that there's maybe more to come, more signings in terms of a striker to come? He is still young, but he does fit the mould.
Yeah, I like Paul Stewart's comment there. He's looking for an OnlyFans from us as well, maybe that's
Scotia's got one.
Scotia has got an OnlyFans, so get yourself on there for some content. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, he's. I mean, we've talked about him quite a bit in the podcast, Carney, over the last, 3 weeks probably, since he's kind of his name's been about. But yeah, I mean, again, the profile kind of players we've been bringing in are young guys, round about 20, 21 years of age. He's not been tested over here. Doesn't mean he's a bad player or anything. He looks decent. The YouTube clips, as you always say, look decent. He looks strong, powerful, quick. Everything you want from a striker, to be honest. He can play in all three positions in the top line too, so he's flexible in terms of that. Is he coming in as our first striker as of next season? Probably not, but you never know. I'm excited to see him, Carney, to see what he's about. It's difficult because we're spending $1.5 million on him. He's not going to be the main striker, I don't think. I'd like to think we'll go into the market and actually spend decent money on a striker. But yeah, Alfredo Morelos cost Rangers £1 million. Nobody had ever heard of Alfredo Morelos, and he came and he was a success for Rangers at the beginning. So yeah, excited to see him. I know he's not going away to, is it the Olympics or something? He was going or something like that.
No, that's right.
He's not in the Morocco under 23 squad, which is good. So yeah, we might get to see him, Carney, against Man United in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. Also, I heard on Heart and Hand today. Is there a closed door game on Wednesday that I've completely missed?
Oh, I don't know. I know we play Ajax on the 13th.
Right.
But there probably is, to be honest.
Colin said something on it, and I was like, have I completely missed that? And I could have, because the things have been a wee bit chaotic, but I was like,
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we officially play Ajax on the 13th.
That's right.
Then we play Man United in a exhibition, if you want to say, at Murrayfield, which we're all going to. And then it's Birmingham away, and then Union Berlin, and then we go into the start of the season.
The missus still hasn't clocked on that Edinburgh's the weekend before me and you go to Berlin, and I'm saying it quietly because I think she's literally outside. No, she's not clocked onto that yet. So to be honest, though, it's I can't wait for it, mate. I think I can't wait for the football to come round again. In terms of the players that we have brought in as a whole so far, mate, obviously there's a few that are underwhelming is probably the wrong word. Liam Kelly, for example, what are you going to get excited about? The guy's probably never going to appear for us. Let's be honest, you're not going to see him. You might see him in cup games, but you're not going to really see the guy. He's been brought in because he fits the bill in terms of the players that you need, the quota that you need, etc., all that kind of thing. The signings so far, a lot of that, with the model that we're running, mate, there's going to be an element of risk in a lot of it, and there's going to be a lot of players that we probably don't know very much about. I think this is where you have to now put the trust in what Clement is trying to do and what the club is trying to do and what Coppin is trying to do. You have to believe that they are doing the right thing based on their track record from previous before. So far, I'm going, okay, we're getting there. We are getting there. I think a lot of people get a bit put off when we don't get somebody that we were linked with straight away. I think with the budget that we are running on, and we will be running on a budget, unfortunately, it is going to happen. I don't get too annoyed about it. It's a bit like, okay, just kind of on to the next one and whatever one you can get next. But so far, and I've said this last season, so I am very aware of that I said this last season. So far, I'm like, everything so far, I'm liking, but I will come on to Kenny McLean in a minute. But so far, everything seems to be ticking over just nicely for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few people getting a bit disgruntled in terms of they want the bigger name players in now, if you want to say, but the transfer one was only just opened, Carney, and it's open till the beginning of September, I think, so there's a long way to run. The Euros is still on at this point. There's guys still on holidays. The big teams haven't started buying yet, and it usually trickles down, so the boys we've got in, I think it's good business. I know we've not heard a lot of them. I think a lot of them, to be honest, Carney, are squad players or projects, if you want to say. I know a lot of people don't like the word project, but I think a few of them are. I think a few of them are punts. I look at it, the boy at Nsiala, whatever he's called at the back, never played a first team game. I know he's been involved in the AC Milan first team, but never played one. So I look at him as a bit of a punt. Even the striker we're talking about that we're brought in, I look at him as a punt as well, Carney. A lot of these guys are going to be punts from these places around the world. These young guys, you don't know how they're going to adjust to Scottish football as well, because you know what Scottish football's like up here. It's full of hammer throwers. So how do these guys react when they get put up in the air straight away? But yeah, I mean, Connor Barron, for me, I think is a good bit of business. Stuff we should be doing as a football club. We should be looking within Scotland. There is a few gems in there. But Rangers need to get guys off the books, Carney, and I think they'll be looking to do this now. I can't see us bringing in players before we get guys off the books. And I know a lot of folk are getting a bit disgruntled, as I said, because big games are coming along soon, Carney. We're hitting pre-season, and then the 3rd and 4th, whatever it is, that weekend of August, that's when it starts, and then you're into Champions League qualifiers. So we're only 4 or 5 weeks away from the proper football. So I expect stuff to start to happen, but we need to clear the decks of players that we have currently on contracts before I really think we'll see players come in.
I think the director of football, whatever his title may be, that's half the job. The half the job is to get rid of the players that are surplus to requirements, and we've got a number of them at the club now that are surplus to requirements. We don't need them. They're not going to be required. They're not at the levels that we expect them to be at, and they won't feature going forward. I do agree. I think he's got a bit of a task in his hand getting rid of a few. Obviously, the rumours around with the the pretty funny thing about Cantwell, I thought that was funny with the agent sending the picture to the wrong. Honestly, if it was any club in the world that was going to happen to, it would have to be a Rangers player, wouldn't it?
8.5 million he had in that wee thing as well. I've grasped that as well.
I would carry him to wherever he was for 8.5 million. Well, while we're on it, we might as well, because there's no real structure of this. If Cantwell does, there is a serious offer, 5 million, whatever it may be for Cantwell. Does he go?
Yeah. I don't think... I think there's a reason he left Norwich, Carney, and I think we are starting to find out why he left Norwich, because does he have an attitude problem? It's difficult because we're not in training. We just see stuff in social media and you put 2 and 2 together. But it looked last season that Clermont didn't fancy him at times, but had to use him because he knew he had nothing else, basically. I think he's a good player, Cantwell, but I do think he's got a bit of an attitude problem at times. This responding back to fans on social media, Carney, is a complete no-no for me. I mean, I think we talked about it a few weeks ago under Walter. These things would not happen. I know social media wasn't really a thing back then, but if he was the manager now, these things wouldn't be happening with players. Yes, if somebody came in with a sensible offer for Cantwell, you said £4 million. Yeah, I'd take it and move him on. I really would, and bring somebody else in.
Yeah, Andy Hillis, thank you so much, mate.
Yep,
very much appreciated, mate. That's great.
The Copland Road
so
as well. Christ.
Aye, I know. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, I know Bluebells just said there's no official no offals formally for Kent. Well, yeah, I know. I completely understand that. I do know that, but it is something that you would have to really consider. I think there's a number that I think would go. I mean, there's rumours about Dessers, the kind of outlay we had on him. If we could get the money back for him, we would go. Again, to me, that makes perfect sense. I know people go, it'd be good as a backup striker. His monetary value is only going to go down the way due to the age he is. So if you can get what you paid for him back, 100% he goes. You reinvest that back into the squad. Lawrence has been linked with a move away. The constant rumours of Goldson and Tav, and apparently Goldson's worth 25 million. If Birmingham City want to pay 25 million for Goldson, but by all means help yourself. I thought
that guy was a wind-up car, but he was genuinely serious.
Didn't know what he was talking about, didn't he? Immediately I was like, the guy doesn't have a clue what he's speaking about. But yes, if you want 25 million for Goldson, by all means take him. I'm happy with that. But yeah, there's going to be a number. I think the ones that surplus to requirements are the one that cause me most concern. I think the assets, if you like assets in inverted commas within the team, they're the ones that you're going to need to make good business on, because we do need reinvestment in other areas. I'll move on to one of the questions because I think it kind of ties in. David Todd asked, do we want McLean? Now, I understand us being linked with McLean. I understand the desire or the kind of profile of him that it would be to fit what we're doing. However, to me, in all honesty, I think it's a very underwhelming signing. I really do. I think he's probably past his best, probably no doubt past his best. He is 32. There was rumour of it was off, and then there's rumours of it isn't off. It could still be on. This one with me, mate, if it happens, okay, fine, makes sense. I get what they're trying to do. But if it doesn't happen, I ain't even going to blink twice at it, to be honest.
No, we talked about it. I think it was last week about Kenny McLean. It's doesn't inspire you as a signing, does it? We're going into that championship, which we've said for a while is we should stop shopping in that championship because we've been burnt a few times in it. Kenny McLean is a decent footballer. He was Norwich's player of the year last season. He has 2 years left in his contract. So, I mean, I did say to him, if we were spending, and I threw a figure out of £1 million, it might be a good squad player or a player you could use in certain games, part of a leadership group, if you want to say. I know we're bringing a lot of younger guys in, but for me...
I don't think you get one for £1 million, mate. I just don't see why they would. Why would they do business at that?
I don't know. Well, if it was anything over that, I wouldn't be entertaining it. So if Kenny McLean doesn't come to Rangers, I'm really not going to be bothered about it, to be honest. If he comes in, is he going to be a first-team player? I see him as a squad player, and he's got experience in that, and he's played for Scotland. He knows what it's about up in Scotland, but I just think we should be looking elsewhere. I really do. And 32 coming into 33, he's probably only got a year and a bit left in his legs before he starts to get downhill. So, yeah, I wouldn't lose sleep over it at all if we didn't get him.
No, I certainly wouldn't. Lose any sleep over it. It's one of the ones where I'm like, is that our open aspirations, really? I think it's important that the club, and look, I'm realistic to the point that I know we're not going to go out and spend £8 million on a player, but there has to be something spent in order to, and I know money doesn't always guarantee you a quality player or a successful player. But I think we're at the stage now where we want to see something. We want to see maybe a name that we've heard of in the nicest possible way. No disrespect to the players that we have signed, but just something with a wee bit of swagger about it. I know he's coming with a big reputation. There's a lot of potential there, but I still feel like we're all waiting. We're all going, okay, that's great, but when's the next one? When's the next one? Because we know the amount of work that needs to happen, and we also know the quality that we need to bring in. There's absolutely zero doubt, and the front line is where we're probably all kind of paying close attention to about who we are going to bring in going forward. I think was that Peter Lawrence asked, will Dessers definitely go? I think you get your money back for him, mate. You have to. You have to let him go. Anywhere near he's kind of what we outlaid on him, he has to go, because he's far too much of a cult hero, and he's far too frustrating for me to watch him for another season.
I said it last week, and if we're getting our money back for Dessers or close to it, he goes. I know he scored 22 goals last season, but doesn't suit the play we want to do. His hold-up play is poor for me. He's not mobile enough. Yeah, I'd be letting him go, because you've got Danilo there, who I just don't think we'll be able to get rid of Danilo this season, because he's been out for so long, Danilo.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, on Danilo, I know we only seen bits of him last season, but he wasn't overly great in terms of front of goal. At times he missed some amount of sitters as well. It'll be interesting what happens with Danilo this season, and is he going to be the number one striker? Because I'd like to think we're going to bring in a guy that'll play before him, Danilo. If it was me with Danilo, I'd be looking to try and move him off the books as well, if I'm being honest about it. That's, folk might say, Christ, we get two of them. I mean, they might say that's unfair, because I just looked at him last season and just, I don't know. If I had the chance to, I doubt we'd recoup the money we've got, but if we could get him off the books in terms away on loan and maybe bring somebody else in, I'd look at moving Danilo on as well. I really would. Controversial, but I would.
I think it is controversial. I think it's slightly unfair on him. I do understand where you're coming from.
Else, and that's harsh. I did say it's harsh, but
I think he missed plenty of sitters. I think a lot of people forget about that. And players always tend to get better when they're out injured. When they're out injured for quite a prolonged period of time, they always seem to get better. But he did miss a number of sitters. He definitely did. I remember thinking, he's not scoring that much. He'd a few that he could have done better with. You've got to maybe hopefully you've got to put that down to the fact that he's new to the game here, and he was still trying to make
he never had a great run, to be honest. I mean, I'm being harsh.
You're getting a blue card as well for JB.
I'll be honest, I'd be surprised if there's a few people that don't agree with me in terms of moving Danilo on, but if it's just an opinion, it's all about opinion. So I hope he proves me wrong and scores 35 goals next season for Rangers.
Or else you're just setting yourself up for next season to go, I told you so. You're going to be one of the guys, one of the Twitter guys that goes, I told you so. No, it's definitely a controversial one, mate, because to be honest, I forgot about him. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, I kind of forgot that Danilo was there. When you were starting getting linked with, obviously, Roof was leaving, Dessers getting linked with leaving, Lammers. Looks like he won't be returning to Rangers. He's going to be going to play for one of the Dutch sides anyway. And I started thinking, but we've not got any strikers. And I was like, Danilo. Kind of out of nowhere, I was like, I completely forgot about him because he's been out for so long. I hope he comes back stronger. I think it's quite a big injury, and you always have that concern hanging over you about how is he going to be when he comes back, how's he going to respond after his treatment. But he's saying all the right things just now. It seems to be going well. He seems to be recovering well, and you just have to hope that he has to score. He has to score. I think Aldo's just said about 25 plus a season. If he does that, then we'll all be replaying this part again and rubbing it in Alistair's face. That is for absolute sure. Before I move on to any other questions, it is just a time for. You can tell I've not done a podcast in ages, can't you? I need to put my teeth back in. It is time for a word from our sponsors, Manscape. Thanks to our friends at Manscape, you can make this season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. There's not really any need to be feeling cool and Scotland just now, is there? It's been one of the worst summers I can remember. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code CLUB at 22. Summertime and the trimming is easy. The Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Inside the package, you'll find a body warmer. No, I'm kidding. You'll find the star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. The fifth generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. It features a dual LED spotlights to provide contrast in multiple skin tones, 3 length setting combs, and it is waterproof. Now that you have the perfect haircut, use Manscaped liquid formulations to keep the freshness. The Crop Soother Aftershave Lotion and the Crop Preserver Anti-Shave Ball Deodorant. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. Generally, the ball deodorant is tremendous. I didn't realise I needed it in my life, and I do use it all the time now. Manscaped even throw in 2 free gifts with their Performance Package 5.0, the Manscaped Boxers that are very comfortable, and the Shed Travel Bag. Manscaped's new Buff Bundle is all you need to keep that summer heat a breeze. This bundle includes their signature silicone scrubber and their body wash. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB at 22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CLUB at 22 at manscaped.com. It's smooth sack summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind. Thank you very much to Manscaped for their continued support of this podcast. But as I said, that promo probably works if you're in America or somewhere warm, whereas it's not very warm here, and it hasn't been for quite a while. Yes, not missed doing that, mate, that's for sure. That's why I get you lads to host this podcast, so I don't need host this show. What is wrong with me? So I don't need to read that out, basically. We'll move on to another thing that kind of links 2 questions that I started earlier on. David Todd asked, how do you all feel about going to Hampden for the first 3 to 5 games initially? And Blue Nose John, do you think that the club is a shambles at the moment? They kind of tie into each other. I'll have my say on this because I don't think I have done since it all came out that we won't be at Ibrox for the start of the season. At least it's a mess, an absolute mess by the club. It really is. It's embarrassing, and the bit that annoys me the most is that I expected it. I expected us to go. They were planning on doing work during the summer, and I was going, it's Rangers. There is absolutely no way that we're going to have that ready for the start of the season. Something will happen, and inevitably it has. It has happened. I've just noticed Justin Muir's comment there. It's body scorching over here in Texas. Lucky you, Justin. We'll say back to work today, and I didn't take my jacket off once. That kind of tells you everything about how Scotland is. But yeah, no, the work at Ibrox is just a mess. It really is. It's just an absolute shambles. It's embarrassing. It's a bit amateurish. Really, it's not something that it's been. We've not covered ourselves in any glory in it. Sack how many people that you want for it. That this should all have been sorted beforehand. We knew the work was going to happen. All the material should have been in Scotland. It should have been ready to go. They should have eliminated any point that they could to stop any delays in it. That there could have been precautions took against it, and they didn't take it. So it's on the club, this one. It's on the board, this one. It's on whoever was the project manager, this one. It is a bit of a mess. That's for sure. Ali, I think the bit that's a bit even more concerning just now is the absolute silence from the club about where we're actually going to be playing football. It's not right. It's not right for the club to have kept quiet about this and not give some form of update, whatever it may be. If they're in discussions with Murrayfield, with Lesser Hampden, with I don't know where, the 7-a-side pitches across the road, wherever it has to be, the club silence on this has went on too long now.
Oh, it's far too long. It was a gamble, Rangers doing construction work in a tight time scale at the end of last season, because in construction stuff can happen in terms of materials, especially since COVID, wars as well in certain areas of the world as well, which is, I know, the world of tiles that I work in, Carney, that's affected us and stuff. So I'm sure it's affected your work as well in terms of what you do as well. So I'm not surprised about it. But yeah, the big thing that's annoyed me, Carney, is the silence, because we play at Ibrox in 5 weeks tomorrow or something.
5 weeks, yeah.
And we don't know.
Well, we don't. We definitely don't
We're
play
not
at
playing
Ibrox
at
in 5
Ibrox.
weeks tomorrow.
But we would have been playing at Ibrox.
Me and you might,
game.
you might play outside with a football in 5 weeks, but I don't think the team will be
our
playing
first. I'll rephrase that. Our first home game is in 5 weeks tomorrow at Ibrox. Yeah. Oh, not Ibrox. Sorry, I said it again. That's just habit, isn't it?
Am I putting you off, mate, because I'm back? Is it because the boss is back that you're getting a wee bit nervous about things? Is that what's going on here?
It's because it's a Friday, and I was up very early today. The fire alarm went off at my work this morning at 4:30 in the morning. And I'm one of the calls, so I had to go in. So.
Did you just stay in? Did you go home? Did you stay in?
No, I missed the I was taking a dog out at 10:06 this morning, and I noticed it, so I took him out and I went in straight into work. I just stayed at work because I was opening up this morning. So yes, that is why.
You're up at 10:06 with the dog. Right.
Yes.
That's not early. Trust me. I've got a toddler. 10:06 is not early.
Early for me. Anyway, we're going off track here.
Yes, we are. Sorry. Apologies.
Yes, no. The silence from the club, Carney, is as I say, 5 weeks today is our first home game. So yeah, guys need to know what we're doing. And I don't know how they do it, because you look at it, the options. Murrayfield for me, that's a non-starter. I don't want to be going through to Edinburgh. That's an absolute pain in the arse for people. Hampden, I mean, I hate Hampden as a stadium. We hate going there for semis and finals. Pain in the arse to get to. You can't see anything from whatever seat you're in Hampden. It's a nightmare. So that's probably the only solution for everyone to come in and see. I know folk are saying play with 3 stands, but I don't know if they can even do that with this crane. And I don't know. And then the next scenario they've got at Rangers is you've got guys that sit in certain parts of the ground that pay certain price tickets to sit in better views, if you want to say. They sit with certain people.
Us. You can say that, us.
No, I know, but I use the example of we sit, obviously, we pay a higher price for where we sit. And Jamie Mackay was telling us what he pays to sit in the Broomloan. And there was near enough £300 of a difference.
Yeah.
So how do they go about stuff like that? I mean, Hampden's an absolute cope. I mean, and seeing stuff at the ground's horrific. So I don't know how they go with that, but it's the lack of silence, because we've got guys from Belfast coming across too. They need to know as well.
You get people from all over the world, mate. That's the thing. It's not just even, no disrespect to Belfast lads, but there's going to be guys that are coming from the South of England. There's going to be guys that are coming from abroad. There's going to be expats that are coming over for the first game of the season. And yeah, the signs from the club's horrific.
Yeah, I'd like to. I say this now. I'd like to think by the time next week comes around, they've come out with something to tell us, because they have to. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Carney, and we had a wee bit of a joke of it in terms of. And a few folk in the comments said I was looking for compensation. I was not looking for compensation. I was saying, do you think, and we kind of put it out there, do you think the club would give a gesture to the fans? And the gesture I came out with was, because I know Celtic have had it, or they get that with their season ticket when they're in the lower rounds of the Champions League, if you want to say that sometimes they get a free ticket for the first round or something. Would they give us a free ticket for, say, the third round qualifier we go into? Not a chance in hell.
Absolutely not. Not a chance.
Rangers will basically tell us in an email, or they'll come out and say, we are playing at X stadium. It's up to you to get there, and that's the end of it. So I do not expect anything from Rangers, no gesture, and I'm not looking for it either. I just thought it would be nice if they came out and gave a gesture to the fans. It doesn't have to be a monetary thing, just something to say sorry for the inconvenience, but I don't think they will.
No, they won't. No, they definitely won't. I don't think there'll be any form of any sort of gesture from the club. I don't think any of us are really looking for reimbursement or anything like that. I don't think any of us really are looking for that, but it would be nice if the club did make a gesture. And I'm not talking just because our season tickets are on the pricier side of where you can buy tickets in Ibrox. That's my choice. It's my decision to do that. But there should be something, because it's just how are they going to work it? And you're right. So they open up Hampden. What is it, a free for all? Like, if I just to go in and try and get a seat wherever I can, and then and at that point I'm not going to be very happy if I am row A and that's where I'm sitting and I'm behind the goal and I can't see anything, I won't be happy at that point, because that's not why I choose to sit where I sit.
And see, Carney, it's
So
just on Hampden. And another thing I just thought of there. Every time we go to Hampden, right, for semis and finals, everyone's standing, right, and I quite like that, to be honest. And a lot of us we like it because we're younger. But there'll be guys that go to Ibrox, Carney, that
they
can't
can't stand.
stand, and they need a seat, and they'll be going. Because I can imagine us all going to Hampden. I'm using that as an example. We'll all be standing. Nobody will be sitting. We'll all be standing as we usually do. So there'll be a lot of older guys that will be going, I don't want to go to Hampden. So if they turn round and say, well, I don't want to go round, what do Rangers do? Do they go, right, well, we'll refund you your ticket or something? It's a bit of a shambles. And yeah, I don't envy the club in trying to get some sort of solution, to be honest.
Neither do I, because I don't think you're going to please everybody. You're not. It's a situation that I believe the club should never ended up in this situation. I know we can say, oh, there's delays with everything around the world. The club have known this was happening. This work has been planned for a significant period of time. It was signed off. They could have got the materials in the country to make sure there was as little delay to this as possible. There could have been precautions took to eliminate any massive delays. Do I believe we'll be back in there by September? No, I don't. I think this is.
God.
I don't. I think there's plenty left in this. I really do. I don't see. I think even with the scale of the project that's happening, I think there was always going to be the chance of an overrun, of it being overrun. Nothing construction wise very rarely runs to the way it should be. Example, when your house is getting built or whatever, there's delays, but everything there always is. But I believe the club could have handled it much better, and they should have took precautions where they had to in order to make sure that this didn't happen. But yeah, we're now in this situation, and we don't know where we're going to be playing our games. You can't say home games because it won't be a home game. So, look, the best case scenario is probably Hampden, but it's just shambles that we've ended up in this situation. That really
Clement
is.
did say last season, Carney, and he did refer to this quite a lot of times, that he'll play any team in anywhere, car parks and all that, and he's going to give us, to be honest.
He is, yeah. We're going to be. We could be playing anywhere. Maybe we could be playing at Tory Glen Football Stadium for all we know. It could be anywhere. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the club are going to handle it. But they have to release something soon. I expected something by the end of the week, but still nothing. Aldo has asked, do you think Ssaab will be re-signed? His social media post would have you believe so. Now, without stealing words out of somebody's mouth, but it was something that I completely agreed with. David Edgar spoke about it on the Daily Update, where he said there is a media team involved in this. There is no way that Ssaab sits and creates his own video in order to put onto his own social media to put something onto it. So there's definitely a media team behind that. What it refers to, don't know. As I say, it's one of those ones. Could it just mean that he's back next season? I don't believe that he's going to walk into the team, to his parent team anyway. I think if a deal can be done, I know Rangers are keen to have him back. I think Clement is very keen to have him back in the squad. This is one, Ali, as we were mentioning earlier, about a marquee signing, if you like. I want something for Clement and Coppin to state their intent. I think signing Ssaab on a full-term basis, that he will become a Rangers player, be it another loan with a loan to buy, an obligation to buy at the end of the season, whatever it may be, I think that would please quite a lot of fans, probably including myself in that.
Yeah. Has he got a year left in his contract, Ssaab at Brighton?
Yeah, a year.
Yeah, so he's only got a year left, so depends what Brighton want for him. I wouldn't want to go and spend stupid money on him, because we've got other areas of the park that we need to invest in. But you look at Ssaab, he's Ssaab 22 or something. Ssaab was good for us last. He was good for us last season. Unfortunately, he got injured, along with a long list of other players. But what we seen of Ssaab last year, I know I had a wee dig at Danilo, and I've upset a few folk in the comments, but what we seen of Ssaab last year before he got injured, he was decent. He had pace, he had power, he could score goals as well. He could play as a striker. He obviously played out wide and the left for us a lot of the time, but I liked him. he's at an age where if he played for Rangers, scores goals, does well in Europe, he's the type of guy that we could then punt for double our money, potentially, whatever it is. So he fits the profile for me. So yeah, if it's a decent amount of money, and there's a few folk in the comments saying 3-4 million. If it was that kind of money, I'd pay that for Ssaab because I think we'd get it back plus for him. And there he is, Justin Muir. What a man. We will be coming to Texas to see you. Carney has promised it because we're on Patreon now.
If everybody signs up to Patreon, I'll take you to America, mate. Yeah.
God bless America, Justin. And enjoy the sunshine out there. But if as long as it's not stupid money for Ssaab, I'd pay it to get him back because you look at that. Obviously, we're looking to bring a striker in. Whether Danilo plays as the first striker, I don't know, but I'd be looking to bring another striker in. But Cortez and Ssaab, either side of a striker, pace, that excites me. So, yes. But as you say, reading into these social media posts, cryptic clues and all that, he can't read into that to say he's coming back to Rangers next season. He could be saying he's just coming back next season. He's ready to go. So you don't know. And you don't know what his ambition is. What is his ambition? So there'll be other clubs looking at him. So it's up to him what he wants to do. But it all depends on the money, basically. That's where it'll come down to.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin. Very much appreciated. And if everybody signs up to the Patreon, then we might be doing a live show from Texas, which would be pretty spectacular. That would be amazing if we could do something like that. I dare to dream, mate. I dare to dream. But no, and everybody mark as well, whatever time we're on in this podcast, that Ali said that if we get Cortez and Ssaab on the wings and a decent striker through the middle pace, it would excite him. Ali's getting a wee bit excited about things. It's very rare these things happen in life. But no, I'm the same. I think if the deal can make sense for Rangers for Ssaab, I don't see why we wouldn't. He was our highest goal scorer. He was going to be on course to be our highest goal scorer before he got injured. So makes perfect sense to me. Really does make perfect sense to me. And I would like to see him back. I think it is a signing that people would go, okay, we've got intent, we've got a real statement of intent from the manager and from Coppin, I think it's one to watch. I really do think it's one to watch. We'll wait and see if something can be done there. Andrew Muir asked, injury problems were a major factor in last season's performance. That's 2 seasons on the trot. What is the solution? Because this trend cannot continue. I could not agree more, Andrew. I really could not agree more. I am sick of half of our squad, our highest paid players, being injured. It can't just be a coincidence. Do you know what I mean? It can't just be a coincidence. It can't just be bad luck. There is an element that has to be restructured, whether it be recovery, whether it be the training, whether it be, I don't know, I'm not a sports scientist, but I think there's a lot of work going to need to be put into this. And Ali, Clement has said it himself that without pointing fingers, he said what he inherited was not what he expects from a team to be able to play at a high intensity 3 times a week. I believe, and I know I put a lot of faith in the manager, and I have done a couple of times tonight, but I believe that Clement will be working very hard with the medical team to make sure improvements are made, because we can't. Andrew's spot on. We cannot continue like this.
No, I don't think they were fit enough, Rangers, going into the beginning of last season. They looked sluggish for me in pre-season. They looked extremely sluggish when they kicked off against Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. We were all watching it in Esmond House, looking at each other, going, "Christ, what's going on here?" It was, it wasn't a great watch. But yeah, he's alluded to the pre-season that they had under Beale in terms of that's why a lot of them broke down, and ultimately we ended up with. I mean, the injuries problems last season was probably one of the worst I've seen at Ibrox. And we've had a lot of bad injury lists at Ibrox over the years, but it just seemed to be get a guy back, somebody else would break down, or the guy who came back would break down again 3 weeks later. And it was just a never-ending cycle, to be honest. And we were struggling to actually field a team at points. We were bringing guys out the cold. So, yeah, I think they'll be in for a shock, some of them. I know there'll be a lot of new players in, but you'll put them through their paces in pre-season, can't he? Similar to when Gerrard came into Rangers. Gerrard said they're not fit enough, and he ran them into the ground, and they looked like a well-oiled machine going into the opening game of the season. So, yeah, I think he'll Yeah, I think they'll be in for a very interesting pre-season, these players. And hopefully we'll get to see that in the football park when we start to see Rangers playing as of Ajax and the rest of the games.
Yeah, and I think it's important, as Clement mentioned, that we're not playing diddy teams, for want for a better term, in terms of in pre-season. We're going to be up against some top opposition. We're going to be playing some really good players. It's going to be some tough games, and that's important. I do believe that's important. We shouldn't be going out and winning at a canter all your pre-season games. Yes, a lot of it's about fitness and about tinkering with tactics, try to get things straight, try to get players to gel, try to get minutes and legs, all of the above. But it's good to be tested. It's good to be tested against top teams, good teams, and as I say, I do think that is very important. I think the signing of the youth as well, the transfer strategy that Coppin's clearly taken, as well as Clement, is we'll sign youth. And yes, youth doesn't always guarantee that they're going to be able to be fast over 30 yards, or they're going to be whatever, they're going to be able to run through brick walls, etc. But it's in order to still develop them. They still can physically develop at that age. Obviously, it doesn't guarantee things like that, but it still all fits the bill, and it's all these things that have to come together to tie better together in order to give us a better playing squad on the pitch, a higher intensity on the pitch, a higher press on the pitch, and not to look like we're out of gas by the time 3/4 of the season is over. Sometimes even before that, it looks like we've been running out of gas. The players that they've moved on, and the players that we're bringing in, I think the emphasis is on youth, and it is on enthusiasm. It's on developing players, and it's on hopefully a kind of a less injury stricken and a less injury stricken season. Injuries will happen; they always do. It's football; it's what happens. Players will get injured, but we have to hope that it's not for long periods of time like it has been. Like we get told, oh, he'll be out for the next game, but then he'll be back for the following week, and you don't see him again for 2 months. It can't be like that. We have to have players that, if they do get injured, the recovery time is quicker, depending on the injury, obviously. But if it's just a knock or whatever it has to be quicker. The recovery needs to get better, and I do believe that the manager, the management team, they will be very much looking into that, and it's something we hope to be rectified going into next season. This Scotty has asked, should be my name, this Scotty. Scott, what position would you like to see us target next? It's a difficult one for me, this, it really is. There's probably elements in it of who I see leaving and who I see going out the door. Now, I think we need to concentrate on a left back. I think we need a real quality left back brought in. Again, I might be doing Jeffy a bit of a disservice here, but I think Ridvan could go. I still believe Ridvan could go. I think he's one of these players that could be moved on due to his sellable asset. If not there, probably still a striker. And I know that's boring because everybody wants a magic striker, but probably still a striker where I would go, right, now we've got someone that's going to knock down doors, a bit of a battering ram, if you like, and probably go from there. Probably I alter the question slightly, Ali. How many signings do you think are left? How many signings do you think that we need? And is there a position really sticking out for you that you think we need somebody there?
Oof. It's quite a lot.
It does depend on who goes, though, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at players that will go, you'd think. I mean, you talk to Dessers, probably will go with the sounds of it. Lammers will go.
Yeah.
Hadji, you'd like to think somebody will pick him up. Kieran Dowell, Tom Lawrence.
Everybody's got their knickers on a twist because he's got a hairnet now, mate, so I think they want him to stay.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're going through them all. Scott Wrights, Matondo, does he stay? I mean, there's lots of them. So I said, we'd kind of talked about it last week, and I said that the spine of the team's key for me. I said ideally I'd like 2 centre halves. Well, I get that. I don't know. Will Goldson still be there next season? So I'm looking at the spine of the team. I'm looking for at least a centre half who starts, a guy in the middle of the park, Carney, who can dictate a game and is physical as well, because I think we're powder puff in the middle of the park. So I'm looking for somebody there. And then obviously, as you just talked about there, a striker, a guy that's going to score goals, a guy that teams will fear. And I include Celtic there because Celtic haven't feared any of our players for God's Christ. Way back in when we were a lot younger than we are now, Carney. So, the strikers we've had over the years, they haven't feared them at all. they've had guys that score goals against us. Every season they've had a guy that scores goals against us. You go back, Kyogo does it, they had Edward, Dembele, that they've had a lot. We've not had that at all. So we need a guy that's going to score goals, proper goals for Rangers. Big goals, I'm talking about, in big games. That's what we need. I hope Danilo was the guy to do it. I know I've said I would potentially move him if I could, but I'd be looking to bring a guy in. And I've talked about him for ages, but Miovski at Aberdeen, if the money was right, I'd pay it for him. I just think he fits everything we're looking for. I really does. I know we've been linked to the boy from Bucharest, who's a similar profile, but Miovski, a guy that's been in the league, done it, 24 years of age, I don't want to say pay the money for him. He would excite me if he was a striker for Rangers next season.
I agree, mate. I think I was speaking to this about somebody the other day at work, actually, and they said, "Well, do you think Rangers will pay the money for Shankland?" And I'm like, I think the Shankland thing's ran on too far now. That if he was to sign, I believe that he's destined to fail. And I know that's very pessimistic of me, but I believe it's went on that much that if he signs, it's just destined not to work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just have that feeling. Miovski, for me, is the one that's playing in Scotland right now. If Rangers were going for anybody, it should be him. I would like to see him at Rangers. I really would. I think he's a good player. I do, and I think he would score goals for us. I really do. I think he would fit our model. I think he's very good if Rangers are, for whatever reason, penned in a game. He's very good at running onto balls over the top. He's very strong. He's very powerful, and he's got a lot of success for that for Aberdeen with a kind of long ball. So I think he would work. I really do think he would. That's one for me that I would be like, yes, 100%. We should go for him. I think there's not really many more. I think the Conor Barron signing is decent. I get it. I understand why we've done it. I think there's potential in the boy. I really do. There's still ways to go with him, but yeah, if I was to put my name on somebody right now, it would be Miovski, and I think that would probably get the fans a wee bit excited, I would imagine. I think so. Right, anyway, that's nearly been an hour. It's been a quick hour since I've not done this in a while, so I was a bit all over the place, but I'll let Ali go because Ali does look like the Spain and Germany game's about to go to penalties, so you might want to watch that.
I've seen that in the comments. I was watching folks saying
that. I completely forgot that game was on, mate. So I was like, as soon as we started, people were talking about it in the comments. I was like, oh yeah. God, the Spain and Germany game's on. Yes. Oh well, I suppose it's been that week. But thank you everybody that's been doing both as well as chipping in. It's been great, and it's good to be back. Very much good to be back. Yeah. So again, look, we are going to be moving to Patreon. The majority of the content that we're going to be doing is going to be moving to Patreon. We believe it's the next step for the podcast. We believe with your support, which I'm sure will be overwhelming as it has been since the day we started this podcast, the support that you have for us, that you'll join us over there, you'll join us on this journey. As I say, this podcast, the Friday night podcast, will always be free. We'll always be here on a Friday at 6:30 to bring you this podcast because we do love this podcast, this particular show. It's brilliant to get your inputs, brilliant to get your questions in as well. So hopefully if you go and check out our Patreon, you'll see posts on there, you'll see the price, the tiers and whatever else. There will be a lot more content. If this all goes to plan, you'll be getting a lot more content from that, and we will hopefully reach new levels as a podcast. The sky is the limit, I believe, for the pod and where we've got to in the terms of the 3.5 years we've been going. With your support, I believe we could really do something pretty special, and I'm very, very excited to see where it goes. Alistair, for tonight, it's been a pleasure, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. By the way, the dinosaur that you got, the wee man, the wee blue one, he adores it, mate. Like that's by far his favourite present that you bought him.
I've got a dog here as well.
Oh, so you do? Oh, I'm desperate to see your dog as well. So yeah, snip it of him. It's been a pleasure, mate. It's good to be back.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you back. As you said, the proper football is round the corner now, Carney. We do have a wee trip out to Berlin, and the thing about where we're going in Berlin is that's the first time we actually met each other. I know that's just like a dating program now, but that's what I mean. Carney met, and we went to actually Union Berlin's ground, which is a fantastic ground. See, when I seen we were drawn against Union Berlin, I was like, oh, that's one of the ones I've always wanted Rangers to draw because I've been to that ground. I thought it's a fantastic ground. And when it was floated in the chat about going, I says to my missus, and she was like, "No, you need to go." And I was like, "Right, that's well, I'll need to go then." So I'm very much looking forward to it. And the German beer. But yes, it is good to have you back, and looking forward to talking about Rangers more often.
Yes, it is a bromance, Paul. It is very much a bromance. I have requested 2 single bed bucks. I don't trust Ali with a beer in them. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. I will enjoy the football, everybody. We will be back next week. Next Friday, yeah, we'll be back next Friday. As I say, if you go check out our Patreon, I'm hoping to have some stuff up there. We will officially launch on the 3rd of August on Patreon, but there will be hopefully content up from next week if all things go to plan. And yeah, hopefully see you all there. 2-1 Spain. You're not seeing penalties, mate. Well, I've just seen it in the comments before we finished.
Must have scored
Anyway,
the last or something.
they must have. Everybody's buzzing if Spain have just scored. But yes, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Brilliant to be back. Brilliant to see you all. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we'll speak to you all next time. Cheers, everybody.